Welcome to the Deep Dive. We cut through the noise and get straight to the insights for you. So, if you've been anywhere near the gaming world lately, you've probably noticed. Well, screens are just flooded with re-released games, right? You might boot up an old favorite and think, wow, okay, this looks sharp, but not quite how I remember it. Or maybe you're just wondering why publishers seem so keen on dusting off these old titles instead of, always pushing out brand new stuff. Today, we're diving deep into this huge wave of re-releases, the remakes, the remasters, the reboots. We want to understand not just what they are, but really why this trend is so big right now and how it actually seems to benefit pretty much everyone. It's nostalgia meets business strategy. Let's unpack it. Okay, so before we get into the why, maybe we should clarify what we're actually talking about. These terms get thrown around a lot. Our deep dive found some pretty clear lines between them. What really separates, say, a remaster from a remake, or a remake from a reboot?
Yeah, that's definitely the place to start. A remaster is the most basic, really. The core game underneath, unchanged. But the graphics, performance, maybe controls, they get a nice polish. Think Grand Theft Auto, maybe Metroid Prime. It's the game you knew, just looking and playing smoother on modern TVs and PCs.
Okay, cleaner visuals, better performance. Got it.
Then you've got the remake. Now, this is a much bigger job. The original story, the world that usually stays, but almost everything else. Graphics, gameplay mechanics, sometimes they even tweak the genre. It's rebuilt, often from the ground up.
So more involved, like Resident Evil 4 or Final Fantasy 7.
Exactly, perfect examples. They feel familiar, but also fundamentally new in how they play. And then there's the reboot. Here, maybe only the core concept or the name survives. The story, characters, the whole world, it's all reimagined. Think God of War going from, the Greek saga to Norse mythology, or how Saints Row rebooted itself recently. Completely fresh start.
Right. Big difference.
And what's interesting is, this isn't brand new, but our sources really point to the PS4 era, maybe starting around 2014, as when this really took off. There's actually a huge list on Wikipedia just tracking these video game remakes and remasters. It shows you just how massive this trend has become. It's not just a fad.
Okay, so it's been building for a while, but that brings us to the main question.
Yeah.
Why so many? Why now? Our deep dive suggests this idea of a three-way win. Sellers, buyers, even the general public seem to get something out of it. Let's break that down. Who benefits first?
Well, let's start with the sellers, the developers, the publishers. For them, it's often, it's less of a headache than creating a whole new game, a whole new IP from absolutely nothing.
That's a risk, I imagine.
Huge risk reduction. Think about it. They have the original game's data, the reviews. They know what worked, what didn't. They're not guessing. Plus, they can often outsource these jobs. You have studios like Blue Point Games, right? They're masters at this stuff.
Oh, yeah. They did the Demon's Souls remake, didn't they?
Exactly. So the publisher can bring back a classic, maybe farmed out to specialists, while their main internal teams focus on the next big new thing. But honestly, the biggest reason, it's simple. They sell. People buy them.
Okay, that makes sense from the business side.
Mm-hmm.
What about for us, the buyers, the players? Why are we so drawn to these?
Well, there's the obvious pull of nostalgia, right? Playing something you loved years ago. Those memories are powerful, even if maybe we remember them a bit rosier than they actually were.
Yeah, the rose-tinted glasses effect.
Definitely. But it's also just practical. It's way more convenient. You don't have to find your old PS2, hope it still works, figure out how to connect it to your 4K TV. You just download it on your current console or PC. Easy.
True. No digging through boxes for ancient cables.
And in a world where there are so many new games launching all the time, loads of indies, sometimes going back to a known classic feels, safer, less overwhelming.
Like comfort food for gaming.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, so sellers win, players win.
Yeah.
You mentioned the general public or future buyers.
Yeah.
How do they benefit?
Well, for someone who maybe wasn't gaming back when the original came out, a remake or remaster is often the best way, maybe the only practical way, to experience these classic titles. Think about younger gamers. How else would they easily play something like Final Fantasy VII in a way that feels modern?
Good point. It keeps classics accessible.
Right. And for someone just browsing, a well-known remake feels like a safer bet than some random new game they've never heard of. Its past success sort of validates it. But there's an important thing to keep in mind here, a nuance. Review standards change, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So a game that scored, say, 85 back in 2002 might be amazing for its time, but if it's re-released today, comparing it directly to a modern game that scores 75, it's not always apples to apples. context matters.
That's a really crucial point. Expectations evolve. So looking at all this, our sources seem pretty clear.
Yeah.
This trend isn't necessarily a negative thing. There was this great quote from a comic book source, actually. Nostalgia is money.
Huh. Blunt, but probably true.
It really captures it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In a market flooded with new stuff, selling these familiar, beloved past artifacts, even if people buy them, and let's be honest, maybe don't even finish them, it's often a smarter bet for publishers than launching something completely unknown.
Absolutely. Which brings us to a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to chew on. As game technology keeps racing forward and our tastes change, how do you personally balance that, the pull of nostalgia, revisiting those classics, versus the excitement of seeking out completely new, maybe groundbreaking experiences? Where do you land on that spectrum?